there's a story of Jean-Claude Van Damme is with a director that he's talking to. This would have been back in like the 80s, and he sees Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is at the heyday of all of their films, and they're at like a restaurant or something like that. And Jean-Claude brings this director up to Schwarzenegger and he's like, "You've got to meet this guy. He's going to be, one day he's going to be the most amazing director." And Schwarzenegger just looks at him and says, "Why not every day?" And then like, it's one of those things that just reverberated in my head for probably the last 20 years since I first heard it when I moved out to LA. And it's such a simple thing. The idea of being great one day because you're aspiring to something versus, no, I'm already great. I just have to figure out how to show the world, or I've you know what I mean? And does that resonate?
Absolutely. I'll perhaps repeat back to what you're saying using different words.
Please.
We limit ourselves by our thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us have been given power, and it's power to change, mm-hmm. and power to affect, and power to make wealth. And I wish that I had a mentor.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'd have been so much farther along, although most often we learn through failure.
True.
Pain gets us to pay attention. And I'd like to share a story that was a breakthrough moment for me that I think maybe would be beneficial to some audience.
Yeah, please.
When I was 26 or 27, I had started in the lighting business, literally selling light bulbs door to door, not house to house, business to business.
Mm-hmm.
And the company that had hired me, they paid me, I think it was $17,000 a year for 3 years in a row. And I couldn't really see getting anywhere economically ahead. However, I had a real passion about lighting. I loved it. My first wife at the time was pregnant with our first child. And
this is the daughter that's real estate?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Abigail. And I was terrified because they closed the doors on the business. So here I am, wife is about to have a baby, and I've got no income. So I won't go really deep into the story, but I'll just tell you this. I ended up at this lighting company that I had found a flyer on. And I had an hour gap between appointments and happened to be near their office. I walked into their office. Unbeknownst to me, there had been an exodus of salespeople from that company within the 2 months prior or so. And so right place, right time. I interviewed with the operations guy, and he, basically his jaw hit the floor. He couldn't believe that this kid comes walking in off the street that knows a lot about lighting and is looking for a sales job. He immediately took me into the owner's office, and we had a jousting session, literally talking about the lights that were in the ceiling.
Nice.
It was my interview.
Yeah.
But here's the key. At that moment, he said to me, "Okay, Gabe, how much money are you making?" And wisdom kicked in. And I realized in that split second that I had the opportunity to propel my income. And I didn't answer his question directly. He said, "How much money are you making?" I said, "Well, I really need to be making about $50,000 a year plus commissions." He did not bat an eyelash. He did not bat an eyelash. And I said, "And I want a base of accounts that I can work, that I don't have to go and bring in,
right,
but that are already a base of customers. I will service them, and I will bring in more sales from those customers by taking care of them."
Mm-hmm.
And I had a job offer 3 days later.
That's
I
awesome.
I more than doubled my income overnight, and I got the health insurance. And, you know, I give credit to somebody else. It all came together. That was my first real iteration of understanding that we hold cards that are very powerful cards, and it's not always best to just put them all out on the table.
Right. 100%. Now, you'd worked for 3 years, you said, at that job?
3 years in the industry, yes.
And then you got that interview. You walked in the
Yes.
door and boom, you're meeting the guy. I mean, do you think, because you didn't have a mentor,
No.
so do you think you could have had that conversation earlier than 3 years, or before your daughter was conceived, or like at what point in time do you think you were ready for that conversation to happen, where you know, more than doubled your income?
So I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Please.
Necessity propelled the conversation.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that conversation. I needed it.
I think that's awesome. You know, so much of life, you know, so much we can't really prepare for anything, you know. My fiance and I are talking about having kids. It's not, we're not sure that we can have kids. We've not tried. So, you know, it's in the future, but both of us have expressed, I think both of us will be amazing parents, but I think we've also both have our fears and so forth around that. And, you know, it's one of those things where, from my perspective, given my life experience and everything else, I don't think there's any possible way we're ever going to be prepared for it. We can just be the best people we are, love as much as possible, and be open to learning what we need to learn. And I feel like that's probably the best example, especially for people who have kids that are maybe looking for a job or trying to figure their life out. It's like, were you ready to have kids? Probably not. But you did it. So are you ready for this new adventure where you're going to learn something new? Probably not, but you're going to figure it out and you're going to get there.
Correct.
And I feel like, you know, it's so difficult to find the words to get through so people will hear you. Which is, you know, why there's so many amazing, you know, Tony Robbins, I'm not a fan of his, for a lot of reasons that we don't need to get into right now, but he's built a business and really propelled the industry of motivational speaking, by doing nothing more than making you feel like you can do something. And then there's another industry of people, coaches and so forth, that pick up the pieces. And, you know, when people fail, and to actually help propel them. So it's kind of, I guess, a love-hate relationship with him, because I love that he has such a natural gift to motivate. But I want more actionable steps. I want more, you know, hard rigor involved in what he does. And so
Sure.
I'm really thankful for all of the business coaches and life coaches and that have spawned out of the motivational, because the motivational speakers oftentimes, in my opinion, lead people to a cliff, get them to jump, and then don't give them the resources to build a parachute to make it safely to the ground, in many cases. I don't know, before I say anything else or change the subject, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, okay, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Tony Robbins. There was a guy that came to my high school. I mean, now we're talking many years ago. I graduated in 1990. His name, I can't even believe that I remember his name. His name was Mark Scherenbrock.
Nice.
And he was a motivational speaker, public high school, not faith-based. And he really impacted me to the point where maybe I'll go speak at public schools someday.
Yeah.
Now, to your point, Motivational speaking generally cracks the door open, but coaching delivers the work.
Yeah.
And it takes work to affect change from all of our broken patterns. Takes a tremendous amount of work.
And most of it, if not all of it, unfortunately, can't be done by anyone other than us.
Correct.
Or, the person, being coached.
Correct.
Want more? Check out this clip or the full episode. And don't forget to leave a comment. If you want more conversations and clips, check out our channel. Thanks for listening. See you next time.